Walking through Poland's lush evergreens and snowy hillsides, it's hard to believe that something dark can survive there. The country's rich history makes it a singularly beautiful place. But the truth remains, darkness can exist anywhere, especially in those hard-to-access places you won't find on a tour. A fact you won't find in your Welcome to Poland brochure is how the country is home to some of the largest fur farm collectives in the world. Darkness thrives in these farms, but thanks to dedicated animal activists, not to mention the bravery of one very special fox, the hidden secrets inside one of these farms are finally coming to light. Poland's majesty is in part thanks to its wildlife. Wolves, bison, and moose are only a few of the animals that roam the country's dense forests. But there are people who make it their mission to snuff out these brave creatures. These people are fur farmers, and their main goal is to be expected: money. Though the fur industry has suffered in recent years, money is still the end that seemingly justifies the means, and it's the means that keep animal activists up at night. On a fur farm, animals like minks and foxes are bred solely for their fur. Some are forbidden from roaming the farm, interacting with fellow members of its species, or seeing beyond its cage. Others are crammed so tightly into pens that they can barely move. When the investigators at Open Cages visited a particular fur farm in Poland, they did so with these 5 freedoms in mind. The fur trapping laws in Poland are practically non-existent, so they had no idea how bad the conditions would be. They knew the basics. Fur farming over generations results in animal morbidity, stunted growth, even self-inflicted injuries, and altered mental status. Still, nothing could prepare them for what they saw on that Polish fur farm. Hundreds of cages, each containing a small animal. They didn't need a veterinarian to tell them that the animals were cold, hungry, and in pain. All they needed to do was peer inside the rusty cages. And one cage in particular caught their eyes. They found a skinny, snowy white fox curled up in the corner of his dark cage. What immediately struck them wasn't the smell of excrement or rotting flesh that wafted through the farm, but the fox's eyes. He looked up at them with curious, doleful eyes. The Open Cages investigators had done many welfare checks before, but never had they been so moved by an animal's gaze. But when they approached the fox, it was like the spell had been broken. He backed away, clearly terrified. The baby fox had never seen anything beyond his cage, so being around so many people must have been overwhelming for the little guy. And when he moved, the investigators noticed something horrible. His paws were sore and bloodied, and he had a sizable wound on his leg. The fox was meant to walk on a blanket of snow, not on the sharp, twisted metal of cold cages. When he looked up at the investigators again, they knew what they had to do. They scooped him up and brought him to a treatment center. For the first time, he wasn't poked, prodded, or measured for his monetary value. The veterinarians gently cleaned him up and dressed his wounds, but not before giving him the most precious gift of all. After living a life of obscurity on the fur farm, the fox was finally given a name. The people of Open Cages named him Mashik, a nod to his strong Polish heritage. Mashik was given a wide open space to recover, and he's now unrecognizable. His distinct white fur, speckled nose, and sweet eyes have made him an adored member of the Open Cages family. One rescuer even decided to make Mashik a permanent member of the family. Now Mashik is in the midst of recovery, and he's getting stronger, happier, and fluffier with every passing day. His rescuers made sure he always had a toy to play with, and the more comfortable he got, the more his unique personality shone through. Mashik was transformed into an energetic, playful young fox, and has a near-constant hankering for pumpkin slices. Of course, Mashik can't only hang out with humans, and luckily for him, his rescuers had just the furry friend in mind. As soon as Mashik met the other four-legged animal in the neighborhood, the two were inseparable. They rolled and played around together, a far cry from the lonely life Mashik once lived on the farm, especially once December rolled around. The season of giving was a milestone for Mashik, as it marked the first Christmas of freedom. He celebrated with his rescuers, his favorite toys, and of course with his best friend. Still, the people of Open Cages know that Mashik is an outlier. He was just one of dozens of foxes in that particular fur farm, bred for the sole purpose of being slaughtered once their furs had fully grown. The investigators couldn't save everyone, and there's no telling when the laws regarding fur farms will change. That said, the progress made by animal rights activists and investigators like Open Cages is hope for a future filled with happy, healthy, and free wildlife all the world over. In the US, animals are being rescued from terrible situations every day.